we will now start moving and visiting North Europe, starting from Denmark and Mrs. Susanne Wad, a film studies consultant. Please welcome her. Hey, Susanne.
I just wanted to show you the dinosaur.
Okay.
That's a group I belong to.
Prehistorical times.
Yeah, and we are not quite extinct yet, though craft things we maybe are. I think we shouldn't come up with the answers, but we can still put the questions. And I think that we shouldn't have to make the contents, but we can still make the framework. And I'll talk a little about the next film festival that I'm affiliated to in a while. But I'd like to pose some questions to the project as such. And the first one is we are talking about Generation Z and the young filmmakers, but we have to get the concept right. I think that the Generation Z and young filmmakers are not necessarily the same. You have to define young filmmakers, because what are the filmmakers and what are their intentions, and which one do we want to target? Because as I see it, the formal and the informal way you target the different groups, because you can talk about producing in school, that's one aspect, producing at the festivals, that's another aspect, and then producing at home, which is a third aspect, and we have to find out which one do we want to, or do you want to, in this project, which group do you want to target? What are your aims? Sorry, just a second, because it's quite disturbing. Yeah, okay. So which one do we want to, and what is the aim of the project? Do we want to change something? What kind of contents do we want? So what is really the aim of the project? But I'll get back to that after I've talked a little about the next film festival, a festival that is created by Station Next. And it has the purpose to target young filmmakers. But in order to get a larger group, the initiatives are targeted towards schools, so that it's in an educational environment. And the schools will get some materials provided by Station Next or the next film festival, and they have film professionals coming to their schools. And I think if we get back to what Geert said, that the interaction between older filmmakers and young filmmakers is quite interesting, because the young are interested in knowing about films already made to improve their films to make a greater impact. So how do you, it's not, that's a difference, or they want to make it better. It's not, if you're in the informal environment, they might want to create clickbaits like a school shooting or something spectacular. But if they're in an informal environment, they might want to make better films, so that will really catch the attention of the spectators in quite another way. Well, anyway, the films are the schools select a film that is sent to a regional festival, and they choose a film that's sent to a national festival, and the national festival will choose films to send to international film festivals. And the point of this, I think, is that the group attending the festivals, when they meet others who have actually made films together, they will that will create the interest in the young people. So that's why making a community where they're actually physically there, that's very important. Just a second. So that's one way of attracting the attention of Generation Z. Another question I want to pose to the project is, what is the theme? How do you create interest in the theme? What kind of, if you want to make a film about daily life, how do you avoid stereotypes? How do you inspire? How do you provoke the young filmmakers to go outside their zone of comfort to make different stuff from the things that they are watching on a daily basis? I think that what might be very interesting. And I'm happy to know that the GDPR problems are solved, because that was one of my questions, definitely. And I have a question about the digital divide. There must be very different motives from the kids all over the world, because in Europe we might find, I have found that when we have made competitions inviting young filmmakers who are privately making films, they don't care, because they want to stay on their platforms. So how do we get them to get their interest, really? Another thing was that my thesis many years ago, was that new media is based on old media. And I think Jadwiga was in this same area where the different disciplines of old media, like image, sound, production design, and so on, it's still the same thing, but they use it in a different way, and that might inspire the people who are going to make courses in films, that to use these methods to take Pinterest to instead of mood boards, Pinterests are mood boards, and so on. So that's, I think it's really worth looking into, to go into and select the different topics of film. So image, how do the young people go about that? How can we, for instance, the background, if it's do we want them to shoot a film in the same format, or do we want them to try something new? Do we want them to go out into the landscape? Do we want to open it up, or should what's the balance? Should they decide for themselves what format they should use? Sound, how do we inspire them to make new sounds, or should we say we are only going to use them the way they make sound? or whatever. I think that's something that needs to be discussed. So just a second. It's kind of difficult now because all the things I wanted to point out, it was such a different, hard act to follow because you have all been so very interesting and you have already touched on all my points. So I just want to sum up and say I'm looking forward to seeing this project, how it's going to be worldwide, and really to how the young kids can make new forms of films. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanne.